inevitable.
You have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
I'm totally Batman.
Oh, man.
Shh. Communing with the earth spirits.
Welcome to California, bud.
Cowabunga.
And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I think I'm losing it.
We'll catch you on. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Stephen. I can't tell the difference between life and dreams.
Thank you.
Lost the contact lens.
Hope you find it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark? It must be very difficult. The voice in your head. Shut up! There's chaos in you. Embrace the chaos.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. We're going to be talking about the brand new Marvel show, Moon Knight, week by week, episode by episode, and we're kicking things off with episode 1 and 2. This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey guys, it's Prague.
Konchu! Oh, excuse me. This is Alexander Wolfgang.
Nicely done.
You got it. Good.
Seems like you might be allergic to Egyptian gods there, Alex.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Am I allergic to this show?
Maybe. We'll find out because
we'll
be talking about Moon Knight.
That's right. The first 1 and 2 episodes. Yeah, 2 episodes so far. Giddy up, dude. Yeah. So far, a roller coaster.
Episode series, and hopefully everybody's going to stay tuned with us through the whole thing. Because guess what? This is how you come up with topics, everybody. If you ever thinking about starting a podcast, TV shows are where it's at.
That's right. Just do episode to episode. Yeah, and Disney Plus, man, they keep bringing out more and more content seems like every week, or not every week, I'm sorry, every month. They give us another 6 episodes of something new. Yeah. And this is actually quite different than what we've seen so far. And maybe we should get to where we're at.
If you are new, we're going to start out with our spoiler-free review of what we're seeing so far. Again, we can't talk to the whole show. We can only talk about episodes 1 and 2. But we'll spoiler-free, and then if you haven't seen the shows yet, if you're waiting for all of it to air and then watch it at once, however you like to watch it in any form, we are going to spoil it fully, but we're going to tell you before we do that. So with that, who wants to tell everybody, all of our awesome listeners, what they thought of the show without spoiling it?
I think Alex does.
I'll go first. Thank you, Prague, for nominating me. I actually, so far, it's definitely a teeter-totter for me. Like there are points. Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. I didn't even. Oh, yes. It's a scale. Like part of me is like,
how does Ahmet judge it?
this is pretty good. I'm really digging certain aspects of it, but then on the other side, I'm like, God, there's some annoying bits. I'm like, ugh, this. Can we move on from this type of stuff? But for the most part, all in all, I'm digging it. Like, it is a fun show. I like that Marvel and Disney Plus. This is kind of a new thing for Disney Plus too, because it's a bit horror-ish, and it's a bit TVMA for Disney. So that I'm digging. I'm digging a little bit more adult content on not adult content. Wink. No, but I'm definitely enjoying what I'm seeing so far. I like that it's horror. It's got a horror base behind it so far, from what I'm telling. And yeah, I'm sticking around. Obviously, I have to because of this show that we're doing.
Yes, sir. I will go next. I don't want to say I feel the same as you said. It's not. I don't find much of it annoying. I'm just like, it's kind of just fun. Like, it's an interesting, different Marvel show, and I love the Mummy movies. Like, it kind of like feels like those. And when I'm watching it, like, the good parts are actually really good, but the bad parts do kind of stand out in contrast to the good parts, in my opinion. Yeah. We'll dive into that, but so in that way, yeah, I kind of feel that same way. It's kind of like, yeah, there's some really good parts to this, and it's kind of unfortunate that some other things don't quite pan out. And I think that this might be, and we'll see. It's only 2 episodes in, but this might have been more exciting, better as a full-length film instead of a TV series. It doesn't feel very episodic to me.
Right.
Even though it's a great character, like, and I usually like that in a TV format, I just feel like this could have been a really fun, like, Mummy style, big budget Marvel film. But yeah, I am enjoying it. It's intriguing. I do enjoy the character, the duality of the character and all that kind of stuff. And I do love Egyptian horror, so I'm on board. So we'll see what the next few episodes will bring us.
That's totally fair. I mean, for me, I feel like I'm really enjoying it. Like, I know that's not usually my MO for this podcast, but
what? Who kidnapped Trevor and replaced him with this variant?
I'm fully entertained with what's going on. Just episode
fully
1,
entertained, sure.
I might have liked more than episode 2, but just as a fan of, like, kind of Egyptian mythology and ancient Egyptian motifs, I like all that they're doing with that. I really like Oscar Isaac, and he's doing a really good job of playing 2 different roles simultaneously.
Agreed,
and I really like just the ideas of, it's not what we usually get from Marvel in terms of what superheroes deal with, of what superhero origin stories are, and what a superhero can do and probably shouldn't do. And he's not just like Captain America, that's for sure.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, you saying Captain America doesn't execute people? Interesting. Okay.
Now, depends on the Captain America.
I actually
this is more John Walker.
More John Walker. Oh goodness. Now, did you guys know any backstory behind Moon Knight at all before watching
Surprisingly,
this?
no. I just never caught up with the comics.
I've seen memes on the internet where Moon Knight's like, "Hey Dracula, come out, you big nerd," and I was like, "Okay, is this the kind of Moon Knight we're gonna get?" So
we might. I don't know. It's getting kind of like that.
Like, I had no idea that this was going to be really heavy in the Egyptian culture and whatnot. Like that, it's very heavy in it. Like with the cartouches, I mean, there just about everything about it is mummy. I mean, the fact that he looks like a mummy is
cool.
It's kind of a thing. So yeah, I had no idea. Anyway, should we get into socials then?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Alrighty. Well, let's do this. Okay, let's see. Where do we start with socials? Check us out over on Cross the Streams Media. Oh, hey, look. If you're watching on YouTube, you could just read along on the banner. You can leave us a voicemail over on crossthestreamsmedia.com. All you got to do is press that little microphone button, and you get 2 minutes. Talk your mind. Actually, I know that we have a voicemail in the locker. I need to actually listen to it. I haven't had a chance yet. It's actually from the Newland brothers from Toy Rewind podcast, who is also on the Cross the Streams network.
What's up, guys? Michael here from Toy Rewind. I want to say congrats on the 3-year mark. I've disagreed and agreed with y'all on the mini movie and TV series and everything else that you have discussed over the 3 years. I've been listening to you guys for about a year and a half now, but seeing the different points of views has been entertaining. Brings me back every week for a listen. Here's to another 3+ years to you guys, and like we say on Toy Rewind, play on.
So definitely check out crossthestreamsmedia.com. You can find us there. We are Secondary Heroes. You could go on to any social network and you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're all at Secondary Heroes everywhere because that's who we are. We're pretty much heroes. And yeah, I think that's about it. All this is free for you and it's priceless to us. Sorry. I'm like rushing everything for some reason tonight.
It's great. No, you're doing great. Love
Thanks. It's really hot in the garage tonight, fellas.
It's hot in California, people, if you're listening to this.
This is rough.
It's a warm day.
Tis.
Feels like Egypt in the summer,
Yeah,
but it's just in California.
Very nice.
So I've actually
said.
been to Egypt, which is pretty cool. So I've stood next to the Sphinx. I've touched the pyramids of Giza. I've been all over that place, and it's a pretty wild place. And to see, the similarities between where they're kind of pulling from Egyptian culture, it's really neat because I've been to some of the places that they like either mention or you see in the pictures and whatnot. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So that's one of the reasons that's kind of exciting about this show too, is because I've kind of been to a bit of these places.
Yeah, as I said at the start, I had no idea this was going to be dealing with a lot of Egyptian mythology and culture and heritage and all that stuff. So it was really exciting when that was revealed in the first episode. Because I was always interested as a kid. I love the mummy movies a lot, but even as a kid, like I was always like freaked out and terrified, but also like intrigued by Egyptian mythology. We had a museum here in town that I went to as a little kid, and seeing those like dead bodies in front of me like creeped me out. And it was like underground, like in catacombs and stuff. And
oh, that's cool.
Nightmares for days. And yeah, I love that stuff. So I'm excited for that. That's what made it fun for me,
Yeah.
This whole show, like having that, I just did not expect that to be a part of this series. And I think it kind of elevates the whole program.
Man,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking of school projects that I did as a kid, and when you get those little poster boards and just making it about ancient Egypt. Like in 6th grade, we did that was 1st grade. We did a whole thing about Egypt, and then I did it again in 6th grade. But just like you have those ideas where it kind of replicates the system, that all the different just gods you learn about and their day-to-day lives and all that potentially went into making the pyramids or didn't go into making the pyramids.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, Prague, you mentioned something about going to the museum and freaking out by seeing all the dead bodies. Don't do the bodies museum.
Oh, I've already done that.
Oh, dude. I did that one time. It is not
it's just
fun.
as creepy.
I did not like that at all. That was
cool, but
yeah. No, it's not that. It was very icky to me. Yeah. Anyway, should we
some spoilers?
Spoilers. Here it is.
I actually took notes for this show, but we do want to kind of not just go minute by minute of the series. So, do we want to have like maybe kind of standout sequences from the show, like, oh, remember when they did this, or do you want to be more of like this character I want to see more of? How do we want to go?
I think we do minute by minute.
Yeah, let's not do minute by minute. I say we just talk about what we really liked and
minute.
didn't like, or whatever, for the first 2 episodes, because this is the foundation for this character that we haven't met in the MCU yet. So it'd be kind of nice to see like the highlights, lowlights, and what we thought and takeaways, rather than having to go through the show. I don't think this is like, so far, at least the first 2 episodes haven't really tied into the MCU yet. So I don't feel like we need like a minute by minute kind of breakdown of the episodes,
which is interesting in its own regard. So one of the kind of core structures of this is the Egyptian god Amet, and then we have Arthur, who is supposedly a communicator avatar for their Wayne scales of how a person's life is. And wouldn't it be good if we got rid of evildoers before they committed the evil? And I'm like, oh, he's on the full-on path that Don Cheadle talks about in Infinity War of what if we just killed baby Thanos. So I'm like, is he going to mention Thanos and greatest atrocities in the history of time? And he goes Hitler and, Genghis Khan. He never brings up Thanos. I'm like, that's so weird within the context of an MCU show.
It is weird. No mention of anything in the MCU in this show at all that I noticed. There are probably some Easter eggs, I'm sure. I haven't gone through yet to look at that, but nothing.
Yeah,
I know overt stuff.
Right, nothing that stands out completely. Now, for myself, I felt like it took a very long time to actually get to some action in this show. Like the first episode, I get that we're like knowing the character and building the character, but I almost felt like in 2 episodes, we almost got the same. This is where I was kind of like, was annoying to me. Was the first 2 episodes, you're listening to this whiny guy who's just kind of like, stop, don't chase me. Like it was a lot of that. And once it got past that, it's like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty cool. But it took a long time of going through a lot of that kind of whininess, and I don't
know if he's as whiny as the beginning opening is about showing how passive he is in his existence. Like literally he walks out of his apartment and there's a guy who's selling brooms in front of his apartment, and he just under his breath pretty much walks away and says, oh, you're setting up shop in front of my house again, that's no big deal. And it just shows how it's really interesting of where kind of the personalities divided, because we don't know how long Steven and Mark have existed, because Steven, he keeps calling his mom but he's leaving voicemails, and so has Mark. We kind of get like this indication of Steven doesn't really have an existence before a certain period of time. It's not like his whole life he's had this dual personality, and we don't know when this split happened and if Steven is a manifestation or if Mark's actually the manifestation. We don't know which one is the existence and what the split point is.
Right. And it does get a little confusing too. There are points where I was like, what is happening right now? I mean, but then it corrects itself, which is nice. That is one thing that I really do enjoy, is that it does kind of bring you back and like, okay, hey, it doesn't like hold your hand or anything, but it does bring you back and you're like, oh, okay, now I'm tracking on what you guys are trying to tell here.
Yeah, for me, like I do like the action. To your point, I felt like there wasn't maybe enough, but I did enjoy personally watching Steven kind of figure out what was going on and being confused about it and waking up in between things. We didn't get to see the action; we see the result of the action, and more so than the action itself. And I found that to be kind of fun and fascinating, because we really got to get inside of his head rather than just being, the audience watching him go through this stuff. We were him going through what was happening. So we got that feeling of what the character was actually going through that first episode. So I don't know if I call him whiny. He's definitely meek, in terms
meek
of
is
quality.
a better word.
Yeah,
yes.
like he wasn't
whiny.
necessarily whiny.
Was wrong. Whiny's more of a Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I was going to go to Tashi Station. Yeah, it definitely wasn't
the
that
whiny
whiny
teenager. Yeah, this is not the whiny teenager. This is just a sad British man with a really weird accent, which I kind of thought was funny. So, and that this is like, and to what you were talking about, Trevor, not knowing where the split was, like to me, it's obvious that Steven's almost like a made up personality. That's why the accent's almost so kind of over the top and goofy. It's like him almost breaking off into this separate, like if I'm going to have this separate personality, have it be this no nonsense, nothing, brush it under the rug kind of person that people are just going to ignore because he's so like almost non-existent. And that's why he is so kind of goofy and weird.
Yeah, because Konchu makes a point that I saved you practically from death. He says that to Mark. And so that's when, for some reason, Mark just can't handle doing what he's doing. There's a reason that Steven had to be manifested in the first place, because like we get to see that Mark was executing people.
Right. It's not
so
good stuff.
He was doing some dark stuff that has anything to do with Moon Knight.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that he's probably like, this is too much for me. I need to have some time off from doing all these things. So
Yeah, a lot of Jekyll and
maybe
Hyde
that's what happened.
mirror stuff too. I mean,
I
they
enjoyed that.
have done reflections, just all kinds of reflections on every surface you could possibly imagine. But it's also a lot of water reflections where the entire world is flipped upside down. Like, I know it's not Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, but it's definitely that idea of how things are reflected, and it's not just the real world.
Right.
Now,
Yeah,
did
some
you
good visual
guys-
clues.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Did you guys get Venom vibes with this so far?
I did. Like,
I
it was kind
definitely
of
did.
almost like I couldn't help not thinking of Venom the whole time. that
Every
first episode.
time. Yes.
Second episode, not so much, but the first episode was very much so.
Right. It was
Yes.
almost like they couldn't choose the voice for the background, and it almost came out very Venom-esque. And I'm
Mhm.
like, come on, just show Venom at this point.
But he also has the two different voices because he hears Mark voices, but he also hears Konchu voice. And my one biggest problem is that Konchu is an Egyptian god, but for some reason he sounds like Optimus Prime, and he doesn't have any shouldn't he speak in a different non-English language or have some kind of accent or different dialect than sounding like Optimus Prime?
Yeah, I was
And
thinking the
not
same
even
thing.
just that. Like, he also just looks like a 16th century doctor.
Yeah, he looks
He
good
has the
like
Plague
Doctor, of
Doctor
course.
mask.
Yeah, he looks like
Yeah.
a plague doctor. Like, it doesn't scream Egyptian to me with Konchu.
Okay.
He looks like a mixture of death with a plague doctor.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can see that.
Yeah. And that was another little issue that I had, was this is supposed to be an Egyptian god, yet it doesn't look anything Egyptian at all.
Yeah, I want to
The
say
most-
yeah, that was one of my biggest disappointments in this series was like his look and design. It felt like it was kind of cheap in a way. Like, it's cool when he's posing different way, like he's on top of rooftops and things. It looks cool, like the silhouette and stuff. But there's something about his design that feels kind of
You're like, it's creepy when the lights are flashing off, but when he
yeah.
just
Yeah,
has
things
a
like that.
conversation with Mark in episode 2, that's when it's like, I'm
Yeah. It's like, I'm feeling it too much.
But I do like the backstory of how it's mainly like chosen people. Like, it's not just
Yeah, the avatars. Yeah.
right. It's not just like, this is a guy who's just kind of like through the years have been this person, but like
Right.
maybe amnesia or something like that. No, it's you're chosen to be Konchu's avatar. Thank you. God, I was the blue guy. I love that he even
The blue
says,
guy.
"Oh, the blue people."
And then he's like, no, not that. And he's like, oh, you mean the anime?
The anime?
Which is even better.
See, Steven's funny. Alex.
Steven has a lot of
no.
underhanded humor where he almost
Yes.
swallows the joke, and they have other audience or other noises kind of over it. Like when they go to the Alps, and he's like, so I'm from London. He's like, wait, nobody.
I don't know why I said it like that.
And it's just like they're
London?
already moving on to the next thing. It's
I'm
very
not
understated
saying that
humor.
every scene with Steven was bad. I'm just saying his
Alright.
meekness. Like, I couldn't
You did
connect
much, sure.
to the meekness. That
And
was
he was
my
super
issue.
meek. There was the point
Yeah.
where when he's at the actual museum and he goes and the one lady asks him, or pretty much like, we're on a date, right? And his manager's like, what does she see in you? And he's like, that's actually crushing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right.
actually correct. You hear that?
Or the fact that he wants to be a tour guide really bad, and yeah, that's actually crushing.
Yeah.
Poor guy. You do feel bad for him.
Oh, he
And
has
then-
a terrible life.
And so here's the thing: is what I still haven't they haven't gotten to in 2 episodes, I guess, is he does set himself up every time he goes to bed. He locks his leg. He puts sand across his bed. He tapes his door. He multiple locks across his door, and he says, weird things happen at night with me. But
Right.
does that mean, what does that mean? Like, I mean, we know that in his dream sequence when he's going to the Alps and whatnot, like that, like, but he's not locked away. It's not like he's up and walking to the Alps
He
or
is.
anything like,
That's
know?
exactly
No,
what's
he
happening.
is. Yeah, it's
That's
not a dream
exactly what's
sequence at all.
happening.
He's
Yeah, he's not
losing
dreaming.
time.
You didn't pick that
Oh.
up when it was Sunday instead of Friday?
No,
date?
I got that, but I was like, how did he get all the way to the Alps and then back
Plane?
like that?
Airplanes.
I mean,
See,
it's
but
kind of
that's
like
one of
Memento,
those
where he
confusing
just doesn't remember what happened.
Yes,
Right.
it's
He
very
blacks
Memento-esque.
out and then things are, which
And
by
then-
the way, those blackout scenes, awesome.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was
Like
fun.
when he just all of a sudden realizes that his hands are all red, and then there's 6 dead bodies around him.
I was like, Disney, oh my god.
Well,
Oh my
if you-
Lanta.
Yeah, right. I think this is like one of the first times we actually really see blood in any of these Disney shows.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
But-
We saw a little bit, I think, in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but not much. Wasn't like this.
Yeah,
Wasn't like
on the
covered in
shield.
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like the coolest part about those scenes is the music and everything, and everything's amping up really, really fast. Like you hear like the noise alone, everything's going crazy, and then he blacks out, and then he comes back, and it's like, oh, now you're just hearing the engine of the car, and he's just
Yeah, it
driving
resets.
along. It's very nice and soothing, and I'm like, wow, what emotions, just like it gets you so hyped, and then it brings
Yeah,
you
they do
down
a good
really
job
fast.
of building tension just throughout.
Yeah, the sound editing has been phenomenal so far on this show. If there's one standout, it's been that, I think. It's been really well handled. Give us kind of like disorienting feelings, I guess, of what he's going through. Especially like with the different voices. Like, even though it does sound like Venom, like you can tell it's more omnipresent. Like it has this more surrounding, booming voice versus, Mark, who is almost focal and singular.
Right.
It doesn't have like
Yeah.
the reverb in his voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of
Oh,
a nice
that's
touch
cool,
as well.
yeah. I will say there's one little low point again that I've got, and I think this might be my last gripe with this whole show.
Oh, great boy.
The CGI can be a little bad.
It could be very
Like
bad
it,
at times.
it yes, it looks rushed, and that's
It
I
does.
guess that's kind of the way I could put it. Is it just looks rushed?
I tend to be more forgiving with TV shows than films, but even this was kind of bad at times.
Yeah.
It
Not
was
all the time,
definitely
but there were
more
times where it
Falcon
was.
and the Winter Soldier in terms of CGI.
Yeah, it felt like that. That
Yeah.
look, that same kind of washed out rush look.
Because the chase scene when he's in the little like pastry truck or whatever, there's
Uh-huh.
some really good continuous camera shots of literally the guy jumping from the car into the back of the van, and they keep a steady camera for that. But then they
Right.
transition to this weird CGI in the background when the cars slam together. It's
Yeah,
a
right.
really sharp juxtaposition.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I mean, it looks like it was in front of not even a green screen, but like an actual projector screen. Like that's how bad it looked. I was like, oh, you're doing so well with everything else. Like your camera angles are fantastic. So like the director is doing a great job with this show. It's just
right,
the visual
yeah.
effects team. I don't know. I don't want to,
Well,
say
and
they're
that's
doing terrible. They're not. It's not meshing together with what we're seeing in live action.
and like the bad guys who are being hit with the logs coming down the hill, like it's just they look very ragdolly. It looks like
Yeah,
they
it's
just
cartoonish.
it's very cartoonish, and that's probably going to be my last gripe because everything else is pretty sweet, but the CGI could be a little bit tighter. Even whenever in the second episode where he turns into like where you actually see the wrappings and everything coming together, it's kind of like, oh, that could have. This is like our first time really seeing the transition. Could have been a little bit tighter.
When he's running across the rooftops, and it's literally the scene from the trailer where it makes the Disney Plus logo, where he jumps over the buildings like that. That whole scene where he's running off around the rooftops could be super great as the first time we get to see Moon Knight in action, but he just looks so video game within the context of the show.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like we yeah, it is. It's almost like we came out of the show and like went into a cut screen in a video game for a few seconds.
I mean, it's like
very odd.
The Matrix #2, where all of a sudden Neo's fighting all those fake video game Agent Smiths and everybody becomes video game. And he's like, it's 2022, man. That movie came out in 2002. You can't step your game up in 20 years.
But once again, I keep telling myself it's just a TV
It's a
show. I
TV
get
show.
it. I get it.
Yeah. But again, here we are. We hold Marvel and Disney to a very high standard.
We
And they make a lot of money from everything they do. They could pump it back into the CGI.
Just a little bit more.
Aw.
Just a little bit more.
It's not
But-
making me hate the show or anything. It's just something that does
No.
take me out a bit,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it just takes you out of it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot,
So-
like even just playing "Wake Me Up Before You Go" in a car chase scene. That's very different than pretty much like any car chase scene I've seen.
Right? And it's very on brand for his character.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
great. It was a great song choice, and it was fun for that scene. So
Yeah.
well, let's
and
go
I'm
into
glad
some
that
other
she-
stuff. They're fun though. Oh no, you continue if you want
Absolutely.
to.
No. I think it's a great time to move on to something cool. Yeah. Do you guys have like a cool sequence that is like a highlight at this point?
I kind of like the whole scene with him and Ethan Hawke where they're talking about each other's powers and stuff. It's kind of late in the second episode, if I remember correctly. I just think it's interesting to
When
hear
they're
their
inside
different
that, like,
moralities.
church thing.
Yeah, the cult church area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I like that. Like that's what I enjoy. Is that like that drama where things aren't black and white? It's like, hey, wouldn't it be nice though if we could stop people from doing this and when he reveals that he was Konchu's or whatever his name is, his avatar before, you're like, well, so he knows what he does, and he doesn't like being that brutal, violent person that is the fist of vengeance. He saw that he didn't like that bloodshed. He'd rather have it be
When he
where
said
can
"fist
get
of
rid of them
vengeance," all I
before.
could think of was Batman. It's
Me
like
too,
the
me
rest
too.
of the scene.
I don't think they meant that for that to happen, but it happened.
That was actually a question I wanted to ask you guys. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on Ethan Hawke?
Oh, I love him
So
in this,
what's really interesting
personally.
is that Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac are really good actors. And
Yeah.
once I saw him, I was like, okay, this show's going to be good just from a pure acting level if they put any kind of interest in it at all. And so it's acted really well. But when I first saw it, I was like, that guy looks so familiar. He looks like a really bad Ethan Hawke. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, crap.
Oh, whoops. It's because they
I had
got
to
him in
look
that
him up
silly
today
outfit.
too. Yes.
Yeah,
And the long
it's that
hair.
silly
Oh,
outfit. What can you do? That's not his. That's not his fault.
he's got the
Because
hair.
he
of
did a great
Raiden.
job with that scene. Like that scene was so well acted between the two of them with them sitting there. I just love that. Like to see their different philosophies, and it just brought the show to a deeper level that I really think I'm going to appreciate. Moving forward.
It's the parts we like about Loki when he's just literally talking to Morbius about
Yes,
his
those
existence and what
scenes.
that means. It's the same idea because where he's like, so you guys, you're all on board with child murder?
Yeah, and they're just like sitting there, like, yeah, I guess so. Okay. Yeah, glad you mentioned that. He says
Because it's the idea of judging the innocent, and Steven says a thought can't be evil. Like I think of killing my boss all the time. It doesn't mean I'm going to act on those thoughts.
right. And what's really interesting is a line that Ethan Hawke's character, what's his name in the show?
Arthur.
Arthur. I almost said Gareth. Arthur. Okay, I'm gonna forget that. He mentions right after Steven mentioned about killing children. He said, "Yeah, funny you should mention that." And it's like I wonder what he's hinting at. Like, is that something Mark has done? Has killed children, or is it something that he has had to do? So that makes me curious. Maybe he's had to. I don't know. Don't know what that line meant, but I did enjoy it. It was a tasty little tidbit there.
In that conversation, just because Arthur's the juxtaposition of Steven, I wondered if he was fully telling the truth, and do I fully believe that he was the avatar of Konchu or not?
He knows a lot about him. I
thinking
don't
that
know.
too. Yeah,
Or
exactly.
unless-
He kept repeating
But
all of the lines.
He's
But-
also a vessel for Ahmet right now, who is also
Who knows
at odds with
That's true.
Konchu.
Mhm.
That's true too.
And who knows how long he's been doing this, and probably has.
They
had,
might have
with
been
other
fighting for
avatars.
thousands of years. Yeah.
So he might have known, So yeah, that's a good point. He can pull a fast one on us. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what makes the
man.
whole scene so interesting and fun.
You know what, guys? I got it. It's
Mhm.
Mephisto. It's Mephisto.
well,
It's been
yeah.
Mephisto this whole
I've
time.
been telling you this since the first TV show.
It is crazy. We've been doing this since WandaVision. Well,
Yep.
a lot
What's
longer
also
than that.
crazy is a lot of, in the greater scope of the MCU, WandaVision and Hawkeye and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki
forgot about
and
Hawkeye.
everything,
Yeah.
it's all based on the snap. Again, this show
Post
This one,
doesn't
huh?
act like that exists at all.
No.
Yeah.
You kind of have to wonder if they will touch on it, because you have to wonder what Ahmet's feelings were when the snap happened, because that kind of took over some of, their job. I don't know.
Huh. That's
Hmm.
interesting because okay, I come into these shows kind of, again, I know that I say this a lot, where I come into these as the everyman. I actually wasn't even thinking about anything MCU. I wasn't thinking about the snap. I wasn't thinking about Spider-Man. I wasn't thinking about anything. So it's interesting that you guys now bring that up, because now that just opened up a whole new world to me of, wait, that's right. There was a snap.
There was.
Well, it's another indication of Marvel's allowing, or Disney's allowing Marvel to experiment more with, because since they're doing TV shows and they have all these different characters, the shows don't all have to be hero gets powers, hero discovers powers, hero fights bad guy, hero saves the day. They can be like, well, let's do a different type of show. And Moon Knight doesn't feel like anything MCU.
No, not at all. Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel like its own thing. And I kind of like that about it.
Sony produced Marvel show.
Oh, it doesn't feel like a Sony thing either.
Do you feel it's already better than anything Sony?
Yes.
Yeah. Long shot.
Have you guys not watched Morbius yet?
I have not seen Morbius, but it sounds like if you're a fan of Venom and Venom 2, you will like Morbius. So
really?
To each their own. That's fine.
I still haven't seen Venom 2, which
I haven't seen
is a
Venom
shame.
2 either.
I'm a huge Carnage fan, and I still haven't seen Venom 2. That's
You should do that.
So
Go see it this weekend.
Well,
Go watch it.
I can download it right now. Yeah, it's
Or
free.
download it. Watch it. Yeah.
I don't know. No, you got to pay for Sony. Yeah, you got to pay for the Sony films. Unbelievable. I've heard really terrible things about Morbius, though.
Anyways, we're not here to talk about Morbius.
That's true. Let's continue.
So what did you think of? So what did you think of Moon Knight's actual costume as a mummy, and then what do you think of Steven's costume in the suit?
I thought it was a fun, like the suit Mr. Knight version was fun. Like it was fun the way he transitioned into it, because it was the superhero landing, right? And he falls over and turns into a fun suit. I thought it was fun. I do like the designs. I know a lot of people before when the trailer dropped did not like the design, but I think it makes sense because he is kind of supposed to be mummy-esque to have it be like a mummy. So the design I think is decent. I just think it doesn't look good on CGI.
And I don't think they have an actual real world practical suit.
No, I don't think they do either. I haven't seen one like on set. Like I haven't seen any behind the scenes photos of them wearing it. So it is possible it's all CGI.
Yeah.
So I thought that the silly suit with the mask or whatever, the silly one that he came up with, I thought that was clever for a little bit, but I was like, that whole fighting scene, and oh crud, I've got another gripe, guys. That whole part where he would not let Mark take over. The guy is getting destroyed. He is.
You didn't think that was funny?
His friend is getting destroyed. People are getting hurt, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to let you take over." Dude, just let Mark take over so you could be awesome.
No,
he
was
having
fun.
Awesome.
He had to prove to himself that he could do something, because he does get that one big punch in, but at the very end, he realizes how terrible it is to be locked inside of Mark.
Exactly.
So, anyway, so back to the suit. Anyway, so the suit was pretty cool, but the mummy suit, I love it because it reminds me. It reminds me of Assassin's Creed, and I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan.
The hood.
The hood. You throw that hood on, and the hood comes to a point. I'm like, yes. Oh, and then the shing right in the chest. Boy, oh boy, I'm all aboard.
And that's why this would have been great as a motion picture, because then you could have had an actual man in suit, and have the little drapey stuff flowing everywhere. It would have looked real and natural. It would have been awesome to see that on screen.
So good.
Yeah, I love the costume design, but I don't love the CGI implementation of it. So when Steven has his suit on, all I'm thinking of that looks sharp as a cosplay, and a bunch of people are going to do it now. Yes. That's what I was thinking the entire time.
Someone like Trevor, maybe.
So Speaking of cosplays, we were actually just at WonderCon I know that we didn't want to talk too much about WonderCon, but we were just at WonderCon last weekend, and there was a guy who literally had like head to toe the mummy suit. Like he looked really sharp in that mummy suit.
Did he have glowing eyes? Or what? How
I don't think he had. It was during the day, so I couldn't tell if it was glowing or not. But he looked really good. Like I was like, I want to see this. I hadn't watched the show yet at the time, so
Yeah, on the flip side, I did see a guy who had a white suit, and I was like, okay, this is good. But then he literally got, it looked like pantyhose. It's one of those morph suits where it's just a white morph suit, and it looked like he got a Sharpie and drew circles on the eyes. It was so bad. That's really good.
So this guy did, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing a picture of the cosplay. This photo was taken by our buddy Ricky, SD Comic-Con Dad, and he sent it to me. But yeah, this cosplayer did a fantastic job. It was
looks like the White Ranger. Nice.
Good. Maybe that's another reason why I love it, because I love the White Ranger, dude.
If the White Ranger were in Assassin's Creed.
The White Ranger. Oh my God, I love it. I'm all aboard. And so that's why I was like, I'm sick of this Steven character. Show me the Assassin's Creed character. Show me the White Ranger.
Yeah. Mark is pretty nice. He's pretty sexy, huh?
Oh, yeah. I love it. I don't care how good looking you are. I'm not letting you in.
It's all that confidence, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like when he sees the security footage of the previous night of the episode 2. He's like, that's not me. Because you can just tell by the way he looks.
The way he looks. But come on, have you ever looked that confident and angry?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in there in the corner crying. Just a little bit.
Yeah. The meek little mouse he is. Yep. So what did you guys think of the actual, like, the little demons that came out? What did you guys think about the design?
The designs are great. Once again, it's the same thing. I love those designs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, Alex?
Coyotes. Yeah, the skinny coyote looking things.
Yeah. African jackal.
Yeah, fun designs. But the jackal, yes. Fun design, bad CGI.
Bad CGI! Great design, bad CGI!
They reminded me of the werewolf in Harry Potter, so that caused an eye roll pretty strong.
That's a terrible design.
With the long stringy hair, it had oh God, why did they have to add that?
I don't know why they have the long stringy hair.
The long stringy hair just completely throws up.
Yes.
Did we actually like this show?
No, I like the show. It was just bad CGI.
I know.
I like the invisible fight though, where we don't get the CGI and they're just getting tossed around.
Right, exactly. It's fun.
That was pretty fun.
His like butt's all rubbing up against the glass. He's like trying to fight him with the little tire. That was good. That was fun. It was clever of his wife to smash the bottle so you can actually see what this thing looks like and where it was at.
Yeah,
clever.
And that gave me what is that? That's paranormal vibes where the mom splashes the water on the demon and then you see what the demon looks like and he runs into the closet. Creepy stuff, but this didn't give me the same creep factor as Paranormal Activity.
I was thinking more Predator in terms of
Predator. Absolutely. Predator works as well. I mean, it's been done. It's not like it's the first time we've seen it. Oh, the boys. That's coming back. Can we do week to week on that?
Sure.
I don't know. Season 2 is so...
We will find a way to discuss.
We'll find a way. Life finds a way, right? Anyway,
cool.
What else happened in this show?
So,
I
would say favorite character.
We talked about the logs, and I do want to just give a shout out to Final Destination whenever I see a log truck on film or even in person. And then also when he goes into the museum, I was thinking Night at the Museum.
Yep, every time.
Of course. Fun movies.
Same
there
thing.
You go.
Final Destination.
It would have been cool if all of the stuff came to life, not just one item. But anyways, it would have been fun.
So it's just a combination of the Mummy movies and Night at the Museum.
Yeah, and Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed running across rooftops in all CG glory.
I know it's funny because we talked about Turning Red and the sequence where the panda runs across the rooftops. was one of your favorites, Alex, just because of how it's rendered, but it's all completely animated. And the interesting thing is he's completely animated and they still couldn't pull it off.
Right. I mean, okay, if this whole show was completely animated, one, we probably wouldn't be talking about it. Two, it probably would look great. It would have looked stand out and awesome if this was all animated, but it's not. Right. That's the issue. Like, don't go from this great looking action with real people into poorly rendered CGI. And it's not that it's poorly rendered. It's just, it looks gooey. It looks glossy.
It's like they needed to run over a few more filters to match the actual live action setting. Because that's why it makes it look like it's so out of place.
Yeah,
I need more
the
texture.
car scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, the car scene was washed out. You're like, there's no way it would have been that washed out behind that truck when the truck is well lit on the inside. So that's what makes it jarring, unfortunately.
Need some time. Just a few more run pass-throughs.
Still, I mean, great story, though. So far,
the story's the standout part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's keeping me wanting for more. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I wonder how much we're going to see of Mark.
Yeah, what do you guys think's going to happen to kind of, like, we're only 2 episodes in, so we're just more of character introduction. Now we're getting to the 3, 4, 5, and so 3 and 4 will be, okay, I'm in Egypt now. I have, like, specific missions. We're going to focus more on Mark, but how does this series kind of wrap up in the 5-6 period?
Like, do we destroy the sarcophagus once we get to it? I have no idea. What's going to happen there?
My worry is that this does kind of become a Venom story where you've got Steven over the shoulder the whole time going, oh, I don't know if I want to do this type of thing. You know what I mean?
We might.
Where it's going to be Steven throughout most of the episode fighting with Mark saying, hey, Mark, I don't think that we should be fighting these people. No, we need to fight these people. No, we should run away and get out of here. No, we need to fight them. Like, that's what I feel like could happen.
Alex, I want you to do it. I want you to be in the next episode doing that the whole time.
The Egyptian God, seriously, dudes, you guys need to fight.
Yeah, just having you do that would be great. I don't think it's going to be that the whole time. I just think that whenever he passes a mirror or something, it'll happen for sure. Because we already saw him in the mirror at the end of the season, episode 2, right? You see Steven in the mirror briefly looking at him, But I think that's all it's going to be. You're not going to have him in his head the whole time. So
let's hope.
Yeah, I think it's more. No, they need to get into the philosophical discussion ideas because it's Jekyll and Hyde, and so you need to get more into what that philosophy means, because it's not just we have the Hulk and we have Bruce Banner, we have Venom and Eddie Brock. I get that, so you have to go to do more than that.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to see that. And I know it sounds like it might be annoying, but it would be interesting to see the 2 philosophies inside of his own head warring at each other. Like,
because there's a reason he created Steven in the first place. There's still some part of Mark where, even if it's a subconscious thing, his brain got to a point where it couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he even wanted to divorce his wife to, like, help her out, So there's something about him that realized that he got in too deep, maybe, with all of this.
I'm glad that you guys are saying all this, because I was sitting in my head, I hope we get a little bit more of a backstory on these guys, so I know where Steven kind of came from in a way. And that might be like a flashback next episode, or maybe the episode after. I actually wouldn't mind if they did any kind of flashbacks to, like, ancient Egypt times on how this war all started and begun. I think that would be kind of cool.
And yeah,
that'd be nice. I would love that.
I would too, man. I love ancient Egypt stuff.
Heck yeah.
Well, because it also, it kind of ties into the idea of apocalypse. Like, those X-Men Fox movies aren't the best, especially the newer ones, but Oscar Isaac is Apocalypse, and it ties into the same time period. And then Doctor Strange is coming out at the same time. It's a whole multiverse thing.
So in one multiverse, he's Apocalypse, and the other, he's Moon Knight. That's very interesting. Is Apocalypse maybe one of the alter egos?
Yeah. One of the first avatars.
Yes. Maybe that's how they get the mutants, into this timeline.
That's it.
Because he's the original mutant. That makes sense. Okay, I'm getting it now. It's coming full circle. I like it.
It's
But we don't even know
WandaVision.
if this is the right timeline. And we don't know if this is the right universe we're in. We don't know what universe
No,
we're in right now.
That's the one thing that Michelle and I talked about. What if episode 6, it's kind of resolved or whatever, and Doctor Strange breaks through and he's like, "We need you," and he just pulls him in and it ends. Because this is like a cold multiverse where there's none of the MCU stuff we know.
Yeah, that's why
This
no
is
one was
just a
talking
timeline
about
where
it.
there's just Moon Knight.
That would be interesting. I'm trying to think, when would this end? This will end before the movie comes out, though.
So episode 2 came out this
Right?
week. So that means 3 is the 13th, 4 is the 20th, 5 is the 27th, and then 4. Okay, so the final episode is the Wednesday before the Friday that Doctor Strange comes out. So it does come out before. It would have to come out. This episode would have to come out the week after.
Yeah, so that doesn't quite work. Darn.
Well,
Dang.
Unless they
I
delay
like that
it
idea.
a week.
Well, wait
that
a
would have been
second.
fun.
So you're hoping that they kind of intertwine the two.
I'm just hoping that the reason they haven't mentioned the MCU is because this is a different universe where none of the stuff we've seen happen with Iron Man and everything. There is no Iron Man. There's no first MCU movie, and none of this has happened. Because they can do anything now. Like, I don't know what Doctor Strange is going to do, but they can do anything.
Yeah, I almost wonder if this takes place pre-snap. Because it doesn't necessarily have to happen after.
No. And they're everything they've kind of done has been, everything on TV has been based on the movies. Wanda and Vision, Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier, Hawkeye. It's all based on characters we know.
This is not.
Moon Knight's the first introduction. Like, we're going to get Miss Marvel, we're going to get She-Hulk, but Moon Knight, it's almost like kind of a phase 2 of TV.
It is, in a way. Yeah, because now we're starting to get into those brand new characters coming up.
Now, do you guys think that Marvel is going to continue on this line of like darker series, or not just series, but darker movie? I mean, we already know that Doctor Strange is going to be more of a horror-esque. This has already got a horror feel to it. Do you think this is, not saying that horror is going to be mainlined, but do you think it's going to be a lot more darker rather than what we know? I feel like with Iron Man and Thor and all that stuff, it's been bright, colorful, fun, exciting. Jokes are left and right. Like, I know that there's jokes in this, but it's still masked with darkness.
Yeah, I do think they're dipping their toes in the horror realm, which I'm excited for. And I do think we're going to see a lot more of that now. For sure.
And what's really interesting is that, like, we have the main ideas of the main characters. They're traditional superheroes. They get some powers in some special way and they fight bad guys. And then what we got is Doctor Strange, where he fights in the metaphysical. So it's not the obvious, I'm punching this person in the face right now. It's a different kind of mind realm idea. But then you have Moon Knight, who's more of the supernatural. And we haven't done supernatural in the MCU. Blade is coming at some point eventually. And Moon Knight would have that kind of same parallel fighting, not necessarily together, but in the same realm of bad guys. And then you also have Kit Harington's character in the Eternals, who's Black Knight, who meets in the bonus spoiler credit scene of Eternals, he sees Blade. So they're tying all of this, like, it's not like, oh, these are going to be horror things, but it's definitely a sub-interconnected universe.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
now,
like almost like a horror universe.
Yeah. I know that we mentioned Morbius. Do you think Blade and Morbius are going to probably not?
And Sony literally came out and said, we did not talk to Kevin Feige with anything to do with Morbius.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a great strategy.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was a misstep on their part, unfortunately. But it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I am enjoying it. As I said, I just wish this would have been a movie. It would have been more fun, I think. That's my lament. But I am fun. It's really enjoying it, though.
But we'll see as we go from episode to episode. Because again, stay tuned to
course.
Secondary Heroes, episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to talk about in depth, but maybe there's a reason they did a TV show. For now, I agree with you.
So I
See how
did
the action
one.
goes.
I did make one note because for some reason I thought it was very, very funny. Well, at least it could have been funny. And what a missed opportunity it was. When Mark finally takes over and he turns into the full-on mummy costume, the camera is a low shot looking up at him. He's a big hero stance. He grabs his chest, grabs the two weapons out of his chest, and whoosh! And he's just standing there in this cool superhero stance. He should have said, "Daddy's home." And then it started fighting. Oh, man, what a missed opportunity that was.
God. Okay.
Wow.
I thought you were going to go with the whole high mark meme, but sure. Okay.
No, I'm not a high mark kind of guy. I'm a
Okay.
daddy's home kind of guy.
Okay. And he starts going.
Yeah, then he starts fighting the thing. That'd be awesome.
Oh, boy.
Nobody stuck around this long to hear that bit.
Oh.
So.
God help him if they did. But here we are.
And then I do want to
I
give
just-
that traditional shout out to Marvel. They are outstanding at posing certain sequences together. Like they know how to pose a scene. Having the werewolf thing on the spire stabbed like that with the moon in the background.
Yeah.
That's just great. Just imagery.
great.
And then that's when he first gets his actual boomerang moon weapon comes back to him and he holds it. It's like the superpose.
Yeah, it's
Marvel
cool.
just knows how to frame a scene.
Yeah.
They do.
I
It's
will
well
say
done.
they should have just left that jackal up there. They shouldn't have made it turn to dust. Just leave it up there. Have him walk
It's a
away.
bad CGI transition. You didn't like
Well,
that?
no, because nobody can see it anyways. So
That's
he's
true,
the
yeah.
only one that can see it. So
Mhm.
just leave it. Don't make it turn to dust, like you said, in a bad CGI scene. Just leave it. Because the silhouette of that jackal hanging upside down with the spear through him, or the spire, incredible. Absolutely beautiful. It looked amazing. And then they turned it to dust, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, my only guess is that they wanted to show you that it was completely gone. Like it's not going to, reincarnate itself or anything. Like that's the whole point of his staff or his cane is to continue to summon those beasts.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and then one bad I liked most of their jokes, but when he said that I'm in an evil magician's man cave, all I could think of was Falcon and Bucky talking about
Oh, yeah.
magicians and sorcerers and aliens. I was like, no.
it was like,
This is
yep,
not
here it
happening.
is. This is why they put it in here for that moment.
That actually did give me a little bit of a chuckle, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I chuckled.
And then there's Psycho Colonel Sanders, which
Eh,
That was
yeah,
an
that
eye
kinda-
roll.
That fell
All
flat.
right. That was
especially
a,
I did like the
all right, Marvel, settle down.
Yeah.
Cool.
So not every joke landed, but some did.
And so that's Moon Knight episodes 1 and 2. Let us know what you think of Moon Knight. Is it going to shape up to be a really good show? Is this going to be a top Marvel show? Are you super on board for what comes next? Leave us a
Ooh.
voicemail.
Yeah.
Reach out to us on social and tell us your thoughts so far. What's going to happen next? And again, stay tuned with us. We're going to be riding the Moon Knight train all the way to its end.
Moon Knight!
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you next time.
Prog out.
Adios, y'all.